back there.
Actually, my question is with respect to ISB. I heard with ISB, they have some 3 rounds of interviews. Okay.
Before even you continue the question, you have to tell me whom did you hear this from?
From a person who just passed out from the ISB.
Okay. Later I need the name.
So, what was the question that came in my mind is, what is that they look on one interview, then it comes a second interview, how do they drill down, I mean, what they expect on...
So this is the point when you've got an admit, you've gone for the interview, and then you're worried that if there are multiple interviews, why is there a reason that there are multiple interviews? Correct?
Sure, it should be a question at that point, but I want to get...
No, I'm not trying to say when this question should come, but is the question right?
Yeah.
Why should there be multiple interviews and what's the reason?
Yeah, what's the reason? Is that anything they look up? I mean,
specifically in the next round, etc.
Yeah.
Okay. I am an ISB admit. I had 1 round of interview. How many ISBs? 1. You know what? You should go call your friend and ask him how drunk was he when he told you that. Frankly, in the history of ISB admissions, I have never heard someone being called back for even a second round of interview. But even if I have to lend my mind to the thought, I just would think, what would that reason be? It's either because you belong to a bucket where you're closely contesting with a bunch of people, and then something that they didn't catch in the first round that they decide that, okay, come back. But then this is something, trust me, none of the ISB guys that I know from my batch and the future batches have been called for a future round of interview. This will only happen when you're closely contesting. That is only if I lend my mind to this thought. Yeah.
You could have also applied 3 years, right?
Yeah, all right, that's definitely a possibility. Yes, please.
The question is again regarding recommendations.
Yeah.
So let's say I have a friend, close friend, who knows about my essays. So would it make sense that recommendation that has to come from manager comes from a friend, and I send it to the manager, and the manager posts it to the website?
Let me rephrase the question. Is it okay for me to write my own recommendation?
The thing is that if I write my own recommendation...
My friend knows me well. He writes the recommendation for me. I will just send it to the manager, let him say, you know what? All of this jugaad is possible. Unfortunately, there's no checkpoints. It is possible right now. You can just choose a person, you can say he's my manager, you can throw in, dude, just send this content, don't even read through it, etc. Here is the deal. There are times when the recommender could be called to figure out what they had written. It could be a random pick, right? You don't want to be that person. Number one, there is a chance to get effed, okay? The second thing is the moment you say, your belief is your friend knows you the best, right? End of the day, it is your perspective. Again, it is no outside perspective, right? You're not going out to anyone you worked with as to thinking what they would have thought about me, what perspective they have about me. You believe that your friend is the best person to recommend you because you like what he says, right? So I would recommend not try to go for that recommendation, right? Try to find people who can actually have a good opinion about you and leave it to fate. Otherwise, doing this, because I should not mention in this public forum, right, that it is the best way. It's most of the time it is flopped. And anytime people come to me, you know what, can you please write a recommendation for me? This is on behalf of my teacher, right? First of all, I don't know who the teacher is. And second of all, I will write good things. Obviously, your friend will write good things about you. It's not like, but will that create the required impact that the AdCom is looking for? Nobody can guarantee you that. That will come when an actual recommender writes it with the required objective. But if you have some thoughts, please.
One point here, as in if you have a recommender, either you write the recommendation or your friend, it will be actually same as what you have put in your essay.
Exactly.
Same story.
Yeah.
It will not provide a different perspective. It will provide the same thing, and it will be easy to find out. And second is, I believe if a recommender, who has a good opinion about you, writes about your work, everything, it will give a different perspective, but it will finally fit into the story that you wrote.
And I think it will be more balanced also, right?
It will
Yeah.
augment to your story rather than just writing the same thing.
Yeah. I love him, he's so sweet and all of that, yeah. Yes.
So this question is regarding the funding and scholarship programs.
Also,
specific
before
to-
that, just 1 second. How many of you on the floor have some kind of scholarship? One? Okay, cool. Now you know who to ask.
Okay, so I had a question specific to ISB. Whether is there any scholarship or how did you manage your funding perspective?
I can take that first. Yeah. Okay. Here's the deal. For me, when I was applying, I thought, dude, I don't need any scholarship. Just give me an admit, right? That was my thing. Later, I helped a lot of people get in, and this one person who I thought just don't deserve to be there. But then I was trying to figure out a story and all of that. And then there was this question. You know, all of you have. There's a question called the scholarship essay, right? I told, listen, don't write all this. Just need to get into ISB, figure out these essays. This is the story. Go ahead. Without me knowing, it's a she who ended up writing this essay, scholarship essay. She got a 5 lakh scholarship. Right? So, at end of the day, if your story is good enough, if you fit in a profile, if you fit in a bucket, the scholarship essay, I was proved wrong. What I'm saying is, I had an initial thought where, you know what, you should not even touch the scholarship essay if you really need to get into ISB, because all I need to is to sell my story and get in. But then, if you think that there is a story that you have, and apart from that, you can couple it with, you know, what your background is and how, you know, it will be really helpful. Because these days, I think you've seen the recent news, ISB has increased its scholarship corpus. You know, there's like a lot of funds being pumped into the scholarship fund. So it definitely wouldn't hurt. And if you are a person whom they think that, hey, your story is awesome, and I think you fit into a nice niche of people that would add a lot of value to the class, the maximum I have heard scholarship in ISB is 5 lakhs. It has ranged 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, but if you have something else around that, you have 10 you've heard? Wow, okay. I need to meet them.
There is a 100% scholarship for top 10 students. Merit scholarship.
Merit scholarship. So I wouldn't talk of that because that's not my area of expertise. Yes. Yeah.
Just to add on it, if you studied abroad or if you are an entrepreneur, you are not eligible to write a scholarship essay.
That's information.
I was not eligible.
That's information. Thank you very much for sharing that. I think a lot of us, even I didn't know that I'm passing out of ISB, right? So people who have worked abroad or have been an entrepreneur are not eligible for a scholarship. Don't even waste time for that essay.
I mean, they are eligible for the merit scholarship for which you don't have to write an essay.
But that is after you get in, right?
No, some people got it even with the admission letter.
Okay, okay. This merit is based on what?
I think it's based on your CAS and your GMAT.
Okay, okay.
So people, jo bachpan se 95,
Yeah,
IIT.
we hate those guys anyway, right?
Though I'm not applied to ISB, but since my sister was there, she got that scholarship when the fees used to be 18 lakhs and she got 2 as
2 lakhs, right? Okay.
so that was because that's checked.
Sure.
Because the scores of 10th, 12th as well as the college.
Shucks. Now I realize I should have just written that scholarship essay. There's one question there.
So you spoke about how the people you studied with and worked with, the ways to be.
I see the hunger coming out. Come on, bring it out.
So I was talking to a few people who've chosen US schools and Singapore schools over ISB, though they had a 10 lakh scholarship.
Despite having a 10 lakh scholarship in ISB, they chose something in.
The senior I work for at work, she chose CMU Tepper,
Okay.
where she got a $40,000 scholarship,
Okay.
over a 10 lakh scholarship in ISB.
Okay.
And there were a few others as well. So one thing they said was, the crowd that comes into ISB is, they call it the Indian mentality, the Indian rat race kind of people. And they chose US B schools and Singapore B schools because they found that people there had a different approach to life and they came with different cultural backgrounds. So did that matter when you chose ISB?
Okay. Before even getting there, here is a little joke that runs in ISB, right? End of the day, we are positioning ISB as a global business school. What does global business school mean? That you look at any profile sheet of any global business school. What is the biggest selling point that they have? How many different nationalities are there, right? In ISB, there's a little joke, yaar, thoda aur gore local aana hai. Trust me, because you have to bring it. There's a lot of people who come on exchange, right? But end of the day, it is predominantly Indian. And if you go to Seib's, China, it's predominantly Chinese. If you go If you go to each geography, there are these schools that have predominantly the local people, right? But at the end of the day, apart from this, the whole Zen thinking of, philosophy of life and all of that, we need to see where the opportunities are, right? It's not just about being among, if that is your only criteria, you know what? You are very easily absorbable anywhere. Because you're not worried about what happens post that, right? Today, all the opportunities are flowing back into India. Digital marketing industry is like booming. All the companies are setting base here, which means more opportunities are opening here, which means these are factors you will have to let go to get access to these opportunities. But if that is not on the top of it, I'm not saying that needs to be, but if that's not on the top of your priority list, you can very well choose, you know what, I want to be, I would love to be in HKUST, I would love to be in INSEAD, I would, a lot of different nationalities come, I love to see these different nationalities, I need to learn, I would love that any given day, provided I don't have anybody else to feed, right, and I have enough money to spend, and you have the right story to sell, right. This becomes a very important factor in choosing, but if specific to ISB, yes, there is not too much of external crowd. It is definitely there is a lot of Delhi versus Bombay, Bombay versus Bangalore, Bangalore versus Chennai are like very common, nice guys, So we are like all chill out, we chill out with everybody, etc. But yes, there's a lot of, if I can fairly call it, it's a brown skin guys, right? There's not many fair guys. But as I said, it's about priority what you set. If it's about placements, opportunities within the local place, it's definitely the place. But if that's not on the top of priority, the world is open, you know that these are the places that accept different nationalities, and that is exactly where you need to tap in. That's definitely an advantage other schools have about ISB. But yes, despite this fact, the fact that ISB does not have, and for the guys who got into ISB, right? Okay, relax. Okay, the fact that ISB does not have like this diverse lot of different nationalities coming in, what is your choice, or why did you think that was an important factor in your decision?
So I'll be very frank over here. I did apply to a lot of business schools, and majority of them had a focus on consulting. So my area was pretty clear. It was consulting. But when you look at many other colleges, like whether it be CMU or anything, let me get one thing straight. My friend is from London Business School. He's a graduate of London Business School, and this is a very frank thing he said to me. Rat race is present everywhere. It's just that, the way they put it, the way they sell it. Arey yaar, ISB mein ja rahe to kya hua? It's everywhere. It's just that your competition level would be at another level. And seriously, ISB was more or less, everything like Amin said. The placements, the financing, everything, that's what decided my selection for ISB for that matter. Many of the colleges I had selected were from APAC region because, first of all, they had 1.5 year MBA, and second was the financing. They're relatively cheaper than Europe and US colleges.
Sure.
So it's about priorities in the end.
Yeah.
For me, I specifically wanted to be among a lot of Indians or in India because that is where I want to be in the future. I want to understand and be there in that race. I worked abroad, so I never worked in India. So that was my main reason to do an MBA from ISB. And just to say, even though they're all Indians, you would agree with it, ISB is diverse in the sense of the kind of profiles people have, their hobbies, their extracurricular activities, and there is rat race everywhere. I studied in Georgetown. There are Indians everywhere. So there is competition. There is competition between Indians even in those schools. So there is rat race everywhere.
If it's not Indian, it's Chinese.
Right.
Totally agree on that.
Just to add to that, ISB gives you access to almost all the best B schools as part of an exchange. People have gone to London Business School. People have gone to they're like a big list. I'm the only guy from that batch who went to Israel. Imagine, my name is Al-Amin, I went to Israel. I was the only guy who bid for it, obviously I got it, right? So I landed there. So it gives you access to a lot of these different schools so that you can experience the best of both. You want to go enjoy what life is there, to understand what people think, go sit with them, think all together, come back, do your stuff, do your country a favor, right? And let's yeah. Any more
So
questions?
this is when I'm going to play the bad cop.
Yeah.
So it's about 8-5 now.
Okay.
So you want to take the last question? And
All right, last golden question. Yes, yes. Let's hear both at the same time, and we'll take them both together. Yeah. Excellent. The answer for that is crack verbal. Yeah. I'll come back to you. Yeah. Yes.
That's the profile of the people who recommend you,
Uh-huh.
like the person who is just immediate below the CIO
Uh-huh.
and matters the most, though he doesn't know you much, but you have worked with him a couple of times for short span of time. Or the immediate line manager who knows you well and you have worked with him. So does the profile of the person who recommends you matters?
Got it. Okay. Two questions. First question, I don't want to diss him away because obviously all of you sitting with crazy scores and they're like, dude, how can you get above 700 plus? What is the magic potion, right? And I think from whatever the panel has spoken so far and from my little own experience, I can say it's just dedicated hard work. Nobody gets it easy. It's not that, one night they just decided to wake up, they joined the course or they took a book and started reading. Next day they went and cracked an amazing score. I'm sure all of them, you take them individually, you ask them what did you do, they would at least say a schedule that was spanning 3 to 4 months. Agree, disagree? Is there anyone who just randomly wrote GMAT and scored 700 plus? Definitely a lot of hard work. But having said that, it is smart work. It is not just hard work, it's hard, smart work because you exactly know what you need to tap. We are really well placed in cracking this exam. You just need to know how to at one point in time, because I was working, any of you know this company called Saskin Communications? I used to work there 2005 till 2010. I played multiple roles. But I thought, okay, if a CEO of a company kind of recommends me, I would be so better off. It's an illusion, it is a myth. I think you should always go in for someone who has observed your work at a much more granular.
I work in a startup with hardly 20 people. So I work with almost everyone, starting from the CEO of the company to the senior manager, who is my immediate boss. So while giving the recommendations, what I did was I just pulled the AVP and the senior manager in a room and said, see, I am going to apply to ISB. Whose recommendation would you, who would give me a recommendation? Because you are an AVP, but you never worked with me, and you are my senior manager.
Sure. So you went through that in some sense as well, yeah.
Yeah, so AVP clearly said that, see, even if I give you, my designation will never create an impression.
It's it's no bigger dent, right?
Yeah, it's nothing. I mean, he would, like Arun sir said here, he would just write, how does he do? Good. Yeah, I mean,
right.
Good. He's okay, he is disciplined, he comes on time, goes on time. That's not a recommendation you really want.
Right.
So you want something like you have said, I mean, that something which goes really well with your story, your essays. It should complement your essays very well. So do not go with the impression of a CEO, CIO,
or any high profile for that matter, just because it's high profile. All right, I think we'll close the floor. Please put your hands together for a very patient panel who has kind of expressed all that they could. Thank you very much. And I think as a token of appreciation,